Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Listen, guys, I've been waiting for this moment for quite some time. If you guys seen some of these episodes that I've done a couple different episodes on The View, and I've been waiting for somebody to go on their show and shut them down. And Stephen Smith has done exactly that. Let's check out some of these clips.
John Fetterman and Vice President Harris.
He's only been in office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it? And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever, and he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate. We can sit up there and play around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the electoral college vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won the popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the electoral college vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it, 89% of the counties shifted against. I don't understand how people can look at that and say, there's no mandate. There's a mandate.
What's a different definition of a mandate, I guess?
But the problem is that if you're the Democratic Party and you lost 49.8% to 48.3%, and you're looking at that 1.5% dip, that's an excuse for you to say, what we did really wasn't that bad.
Some people didn't
we should continue to do that. Don't continue to do that. Find a new strategy.
Truth over emotions, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, you don't have to like Trump. You don't. To see that there was a problem with the administration before, to the point where people who hated this man voted for him because they realized the darkness that the administration prior were trying to bring us into. They're trying to bring us into this imaginary land. They thought we were in the Hunger Games for about 4 years. Millions of dollars spent on transgender mice. Millions of dollars spent on Sesame Street in different countries. Millions of dollars, of our hard-earned money. Good grief, like, these people got millions of dollars going towards drags. That's the country we lived in. We lived in not too long ago. Thank God for the change. Circus time is over. Back up.
John Fetterman and Vice President Harris. What do you make of this?
I make of it that citizens, particularly on the left, are desperate. And I mean it when I say it. I think I can beat them all. And I have no desire whatsoever to run for office. I am not a politician. I am not qualified. But I know this much. When you consider who's on the other side and how he's gotten away with saying very little in terms of being coherent and articulating his thoughts clearly and concisely and what have you. This is not something that he's known to do. Yet and still, he has owned the Republican Party since 2015. Not only has he won, the Republican constituency has said, we don't want anybody else but him. We didn't want DeSantis. We didn't want Haley. We didn't want Christie. We didn't want Ramaswamy. We didn't want DeSantis. We didn't want anybody. We want him.
What does that say about the Republican Party?
It's not about what it says about the Republican Party. It's about what it says about the Democratic Party.
Why?
Because in the end, if you think about him being impeached twice, 34 felony counts or 34 felony convictions, and they still elected him president. It's not about him winning. It was an indictment against the Democratic Party and what the Democratic Party was offering to American citizens. We might sit up there and talk about, hey, you should be a party for the working class, which the Democratic Party was once known for. They're not.
So he's basically trying to say, like, it's not so much about Trump being good. It's more so about the Democratic Party being bad and how terrible they are. They're so bad that it made him look good. That's pretty much what he's saying. Because he already said he doesn't support Trump. He already said, let's make this clear. I don't have any type of support towards Trump. But the Democratic Party is so bad, let's just put it out there, It's wicked. It's evil. It's darkness. And the agendas they were pushing were demonic. Clearly. They had a whole abortion trailer outside of their conference. They had women twerking on stage for Kamala Harris's conferences, for her rallies. Like, get out of here with that nonsense. The American people don't want to see that. We don't want to see that trash. Take that mess somewhere else, to a personal concert. You got the American people really sitting, watching different rallies with this individual and people twerking on stage. Really? You think I want to be in my living room watching your rally with my grandma and that's happening on TV? Foolishness.
For that right now. Why? Because their message was catering towards others and towards other issues, and they forgot about the people that brought them there, that elevated the Democratic Party to what it was over these last few decades. That's why they lost. He didn't win.
Well,
the
let's
Democrats
remind
lost.
people what those issues were.
Sure.
Let's remind people what those issues were.
We can do that.
Making sure that families had what they need,
Mm-hmm.
SNAP, making sure stuff is there, making sure that the America that we all grew up in, where you could come and be whoever you were supposed to be or want to be,
Mm-hmm.
you still have that right. All these things are the things that the Democrats have always said. But now we have a guy who says, yeah, you know, I'm going to bring down the price of eggs. But first, I'm going to cut all these jobs, and I'm not going to see why they need to be cut. I'm just going to cut them because I'm going to...
See, she's acted like she was going to name issues. She didn't. She named good things that she thought was good, that she believed to be good things as far as what the Democratic Party were bringing. She wasn't mentioning the drag queens in youth. She wasn't mentioning the drag queens in schools of the youth. She wasn't mentioning sex changes, gender changes when it comes to the youth. She wasn't mentioning any of those type of things. She wasn't mentioning, you know, different procedures that go on when it comes to youth, children not having to tell their parents. She wasn't mentioning that. She wasn't mentioning open borders. She wasn't mentioning any of that. So she's biased. That's why I can, you know, even tilt my hat to Stephen, because even though he doesn't even support Trump, he's telling truth. He's like, listen, I don't support Trump at all, but I'm a man of truth. This is the truth. This whole platform, The View, these are a lot of biased women. Actually, I think they got 2 women on there now that's not that biased. But Whoopi Goldberg, the other Sonny, oh boy, don't get me started on Sonny. And the other one that he was talking to first in the first clip I showed you, biased women. I can't believe they have a platform. She just said I'm gonna name the issues and name the no issues.
And I'm not going to see why they need to be cut. I'm just going to cut them. Because I'm going to put people in. Well, that's what he's doing. He's cutting, he's doing all
And
stuff.
alienate all our friends around the world.
Yes, dear.
But you're talking about what he's doing. But before you brought that up, you brought up the message that the Democratic Party was disseminating. I'm challenging you on that. That is not what they were doing. I'm not talking
yes,
about.
it was.
I'm not talking
I
about the
was here.
intent.
We did it.
Well, I was here too. I was alive and breathing right here on the air, talking to everybody else. The bottom line is this: you're Joe Biden. You opened borders. Now remember, Barack Obama deported more people than Trump did. You know what he didn't do? He didn't stick out his chest and bloviate about it. He just did it. What does Joe Biden do? Who is a Democrat? Who's the vice president under Barack Obama? He opens borders. Over 12+ million people entered the country. You had stuff going on in the streets. There was a migrant crisis here.
That he's the reason that there is a migrant crisis?
No, I'm not. I'm not saying. I'm saying he contributed. I'm saying he contributed to it. But the biggest point I'm making.
He just took the key and just opened up a door?
He just took. Well, that's part of it. Even the Democrats say. Even the Democrats say they did that.
Boy, oh boy, they don't want to hear no truth. So I'm glad they let somebody on their platform that, you know, shut them down. Because a lot of people, they'll speak over and they won't let them get a word out. And it's like a whole lot of women versus you on the stage. But for some reason, it seems like they respect Stephen Smith. I think his name is Stephen A. Smith, right? For some reason, they respect Stephen A. Smith. You know, but he also came out, and maybe that was a strategy of his to let me just get this out that I don't support Trump, then they'll listen. Like, they weren't going to listen to anything until he said that. Let me get this out. I don't support Trump in any kind of way. Bing! Okay, well, we can listen to him now. It's crazy, man. A lot of different zombies out here just not really paying attention to facts. So I'm glad there can be different people like him who is in their circle, yet he's still saying facts. Amen. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Me personally, I'm glad that there's been somebody on that platform that shut the whole situation down. Amen. Let me know what you guys think, though. God bless. Shalom.